Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about Daggerheart. We're going to talk about a huge missed opportunity that Daggerheart left on the table that really could have changed the industry. So Daggerheart is here. It is a very real competition maneuver against Dungeons & Dragons, and that's rare. Dungeons & Dragons is the silverback of the tabletop role-playing game jungle. There's just chimps gesturing and flinging poo at it. Like there's almost nothing that really competes with Dungeons & Dragons. And but Matthew Mercer showed up to play, right? Like Daggerheart is real and it's here. Okay, so let me say exactly what this video is about. So this video is about Daggerheart had the opportunity to make the first all cards tabletop role-playing game. Let's get into it. All right, so and that is a massive missed opportunity. So one of the things that I really hold against Daggerheart is that it's not holding up any of its own weight in the tabletop role-playing game industry, and it's not Daggerheart's fault. It is literally the entire OSR and the indies that don't even have any idea that they have responsibilities at the industry level. So Gary Gygax did the heavy lifting, and when I say he did the heavy lifting, I mean it. Like, okay, what happened when February 7th, 1974, Gary Gygax drops Dungeons & Dragons on Earth like a comet? It hits with impact and shakes the foundations of how human beings interact with narrative and interact with identity. Humans will never interact with narrative and identity in the same way again. We're at the beginning of it, right? People don't even recognize what he did, right? But I know the history, and I know the terrible cost he paid, right? So one, he does that on February 7th, 1974. By in 1983, he goes to Hollywood. He gets a terrible habit when he goes out. Yeah, bad, okay? By 1986, he's kicked out of Dungeons & Dragons. 12 years after he founds it, he's exiled from Dungeons & Dragons and never returns to it, okay? And that, the Moses, right? Like, you're not allowed to go into the promised land, right? Then I think it was 1988, loses his wife. Like, what Gary Gygax sacrificed for Dungeons & Dragons is he lost D&D, he lost himself, and he lost his wife. Like, his sacrifices for D&D were astronomical. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so fascinated with Kelsey Dion, because she's found a path to have a successful game and also have a successful life, right? And did not pay these terrible sacrifices, right? Well, Daggerheart comes along, and here's the issue, right? Shadow Dark, it had industry responsibilities. It needed, and Kelsey did accept those responsibilities and what she did was she innovated how tabletop role-playing game communities interact with tabletop role-playing game creators. That'll never be the same. And the way she did it, nobody understood it. She arbitrarily made it difficult to get, right? She cut out who paid the price for Shadow Dark's successes. Where were the sacrifices made? Two places. One, the FLGSs. She cut out many FLGSs. I live in South Philadelphia. We have unbelievably well-stocked tabletop role-playing shops that carry tabletop role-playing games. I have literally never seen it on the shelf anywhere because she cut them out, right? And she built super deep relationships. And this is supposed to be about Daggerheart. Thank you. We'll get there. Thanks for your patience. She built these super deep relationships with a very small amount of FLGSs, and then cut the rest out. And then, rather than doing the hard work, because nobody could get it on the shelves, her community printed it out, right? Printed the book, right? Like, I don't know how to print TTRPG books, right? I got 2 degrees, right? Like, I don't know how to do that. But guys figured it out. They're like, hey, you just relax, Kelsey. You just travel the country and get paid thousands of dollars to show up like a rock star at conventions and write your game comfortably. we, the Shadow Dark community, will take the sacrifices, and the FLGSs that get cut out of the loop will take the sacrifices. It's absolutely fascinating. Okay, but when you bring it, right, when you arrive, and that's it. That's it. Okay, I've been trying to figure this out, and I really appreciate that. I don't do videos that nobody watches, right? Like, even my lowest videos, there's like 30, 50 people on it, right? And sometimes I get thousands, right? And then that conversation starts, and it is really helping. Okay, so OSE never even found the arena where the fight against Dungeons and Dragons was occurring, right? No, OSE doesn't matter. It's garbage. It doesn't matter, and it's just a D&D clone that nobody should care about, right? All right, Shadow Dark arrived in the arena, right? And she found the arena to fight D&D, and then she got defeated. And the reason why was she wasn't willing to pay the sacrifices that Gary paid to make Shadow Dark a D&D competitor, an actual D&D real competitor at length. There was a spark. There was a moment in time where Shadow Dark looked like it was a D&D, like it could be a D&D. Actually, Shadow Dark is a D&D killer that was never owned by its creator, which was Kelsey. She's like, no, I want a comfortable life. I'm not willing to do the hard work. All right, Daggerheart, same thing. Let's get into it. Okay, so what was the missed opportunity that Daggerheart had? So I've already declared two truths, in my humble opinion, about Daggerheart cards. One, Daggerheart cannot be played without the cards. Absolutely not. There are people saying it. It's utter ridiculous nonsense. Okay. Two, Daggerheart left an absolutely massive opportunity on the table at the industry responsibility level. It could have made TTRPGs actually profitable if they had the stones to require payment for real cards rather than allowing the cards to be printed on the website. Massive mistake. Okay. All right. Oh, it was God. I didn't want to make profit. Like, shut your hippie mouth. Nobody wants to hear it. Okay. Like, go talk to Karl Marx. Like, this is America. Okay. They didn't create this in a communist nation. They made this in a capitalist nation. They should have charged for the cards. And the reason why, Scott, why is it? Because they had industry responsibilities, right? They could have changed the industry. They could have made it so that Fred Hicks has health. The stakes on this are very high, right? Spencer Stark, John Harper, Matthew Mercer, they had industry responsibilities, okay? They could have made it so that you could get healthcare as a TTRPG creator, so that the vast majority of 70 and 80-year-old TTRPG creators, that their healthcare isn't a GoFundMe, right? Come on. Industry responsibilities, okay? So where else did they screw up? Here's another industry responsibility. We have never had a tabletop role-playing game that is all cards. Like, no bound pages. It's literally all cards, right? Wait, Scott, that's already happened. It's sitting over on IMHO. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. I don't know what its name is. I own 300 tabletop role-playing games. I've been looking for an all TTRPG tabletop role-playing game forever. It's never breached the surface. It might be down in the, near the Mariana Trench, but nobody knows about it, right? So we've never had, so there might technically be one, but there has never been one that matters. There's never been one that's prominent. And that's why everything we're talking about with Daggerheart is so important. Daggerheart matters. Why? Because Matthew Mercer's a real Hollywood star. Ashley Johnson's a real Hollywood star. Sam Riegel is an actually good person, right? That's why this matters, right? So yeah, all right. So what could they have done? Where would this have landed? Well, where this would have landed, okay, is what would have been the ramifications of them accepting their industry responsibilities, right? An all-card tabletop role-playing game could have been literally an entire new genre, right? And it could have been amazing. It really, and so you're like, wait a second, Scott, are you saying they were going to put the rules on the cards? Yes, right? One, they've done a phenomenal job of putting the spells on the card, And this really broke from D&D. D&D's got, you know, spells that won't fit on 3 cards, right? But all the spells in Daggerheart fit on a card, right? And then the domains are on cards. The heritages, the heritages are, the ancestries are, the communities, the classes are on the cards. Domains are on the cards. Equipment is on the cards. It's pretty epic. It's really good, right? And so you're like, but wait, how could they have done the rules? It would not have been easy. It would not have been easy. But if they had done it, what would have happened? One, they would have had to cut out half the crap that's in there, right? And they would have and that would have been extremely helpful, right? Half the crap inside Daggerheart is useless. Oh, everybody should have a session 0. Useless crap. Doesn't need it to be in there. Oh, everybody be nice to the person next to you. Crap. Does not need to be in there. Half the crap Spencer Stark wrote does not need to be in there. What needs to be in there? Every single word John Harper wrote, right? And you could just cut half of what Spencer Stark wrote, right? And so one, it would have been much more concise, okay? The other thing is they would have had to figure out how to get ideas across, rules ideas across on a card. That would have been massively helpful to the community. Well, why did they have to do it, Scott? Daggerheart was not crowdfunded. They put on their big girl pants and they did what D&D did, right? They're like, we don't have to beg people for money on Kickstarter, right? And they did the real work, right? And that's pretty impressive, right? And so with that, they could have actually innovated the entire industry, right? And this would have been a big deal. The other thing is, I'll tell you right now, the biggest thing that they screwed up, once you put the rules on cards, then what you could have done is you could say, oh, hey, here's 100 rules on cards. Pick 50, right? And then the game master would have go, oh, there's 100 rules in this game. We use these 50, right? And every game master would have had an actually custom rule set that they allow at their table, and they could have published it, right? They could have published their list and said, oh, hey, here's the hotness. This is my recipe for the rules, for Daggerheart rules. That would have been huge. The other thing is you could have sequenced rules, right? You also could have made modular sets of rules, rule arcs. You could have done so many things, right? But Spencer Stark and Matthew Mercer never do anything hard. They always take the easy route, right? Like, would have been hard to say, Spencer Stark, Candela Obscura was garbage. You're the additional game designer, and John Harper is the lead game designer, which should have happened on Candela Obscura. That would have been the hard choice. But Travis Willingham's the CEO. Oh, is he? Yeah, like it seems like he never makes a business decision, right? Oh, let me go work on my grog voice again. Unbelievable. All right. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.